Manboy Fantasy skips over the time Nick Cage beat up Vince Neil. I'm Justin.
Good for you guys. I'm Sam.
I was looking for a good time. How could I resist? Was looking for a good time, and this wasn't it. This is Jackie, and this is The Dirt on Stinker Madness.
Hello and welcome to Stinker Madness, a podcast about bad movies by bad movie lovers for bad movie lovers. I'm your host, Justin. With me are always Sam and Jackie. This week on the podcast from recently, I don't know, 2019 or some shit. Currently streaming on Netflix. It's our first biography, which is a weird thing for a bad movie podcast to cover. But it is The Dirt, starring nobody we care about, I think.
Well, we'll get to that. There's
okay.
moderately interesting things here.
Moderately interesting things.
Nicky Sticks is the same guy who played the lead in...
Ramsey Bolton. You love it.
No, that's not Nicky. That was Mick Mars. Just wait for it. God
okay,
damn it.
all right.
Okay, God, shut up!
About the Motley of Cruise of Motley. Sam, go ahead and get to it.
Okay, so this is based on a book by Neil Strauss, who also wrote The Game about pickup artists and Everyone Loves You When You're Dead. He did the Jim and Jane.
Is The Game the one that became... Didn't that become the Basketball Diaries with...
No, The Game is about pickup artists.
Players.
Yes.
The different game.
Yeah, and then he did a bio on Jenna Jameson, and he's a New York Times guy. Pretty much all of his shit's a bestseller. This was a bestseller. He wrote it as a reporter would. They took their stories and made it into a book about Motley Crue and as truth as they can tell it.
Sure. What they can remember. This languished in development hell for 10 years. Paramount had the rights. Okay.
And then Netflix bought the rights up after the 10-year period expired or whatever happened there, at which point everything aligns in the stars for this movie, because you have Rich Wilkes, who wrote Airheads and The Stone Age and the Triple X movies, writes it.
Okay, all right.
The director, Jeff Tremaine, you may know because he's one of the co-creators of Jackass.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
So and then Netflix is as laissez-faire a production squad as there is, and they just gave him $23 million to make it. Like, what could go better than this? This is like the dream team of this thing, because Paramount wasn't going to put that many tits in a movie. They just weren't going to do it.
Or dollars, probably,
they would.
This movie.
$20 million Paramount after 2005, say. This was written in 2008, so... At 2005 is the point when Paramount's not going to make a movie for less than $20 million. They can't make a movie for $5 million and then spend $25 million in marketing on it. They just can't justify that.
Yeah,
so
which
$20 million is their floor.
They wouldn't have made this. They wouldn't have made this at all. They would have been like, no, we're not spending that money on it.
Why did they even buy the rights?
Right.
I don't get it, but whatever.
Maybe it's a CBS thing with the library. Maybe the music is now part of their library or some shit. I don't know.
No.
Okay.
In the movie, he buys back the rights for more money. We're going to get to that at the end because it's one of my main questions.
Needed more H, and so he sold them after the movie ends, because there's a lot of things that are missing from this movie.
Okay. Good, because I don't like Motley Crue, so you'll have to do the history and the shit they missed, because I just don't. I don't care. In fact, I feel like I like them better now that I've seen this, because I always thought they were a bunch of fucking idiots, and their music was like LA band crap. And the movie leads with, wow, the 80s were the shittiest decade on earth, and we're a bunch of fucking idiots. And I was like, oh God, they're going all of my criticisms.
It's not that you gained any new knowledge about them other than that they're self-aware.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow, I like you better now. You're completely self-aware. You are just a bunch of walking hard-ons. And an old man, kind of, because Mick's only 8 years older than Nicky Six, which I guess at the time seemed like a lot, but now, whatever, right? They're all in their 60s, so, and he's 71, and I believe Mick's officially retired now. Like, his health is to the point that he just can't do it anymore.
Sure.
Because they say, they made their farewell tour in 2015. No, they got back together again in 2018 and 2020, and they did the cruise thing. Did you hear about that shit?
I don't think
no.
I might have.
There was a Motley Crue
Yes, it was called the Motley Crue, and
Oh my God. So not clever.
Poison. I think I might be fucking this up. I think it was Poison and Slaughter.
Okay.
So you go on this cruise and listen to that shit for a week. Does that
my
sound
God.
awesome?
There were probably so many barf piles. There's
Okay, all
probably
right.
so many barf piles and like half-naked ladies all over that boat.
I know what Jackie would say to this question. Actually, I don't, because I think she likes butt rock quite a bit. But so I'll pose it to you. There was the Disney cruises. They have one that is a family only, no booze, no parties, no nothing, and it's like Disney on ice, but on a ship. There's the characters and the man, they're the people in the suits and the hey, it's me, Goofy. While you're trying to have dinner. Which would you rather do, the Disney cruise or the Motley Cruise? Sam?
The Motley Cruise.
Okay.
Motley
Jackie.
Cruise.
All right. So it's not the worst cruise that there could be, but it's pretty bad.
It's not, it's not as cool as the Bruise Cruise, though, with the WWE one. That one's that was WCW. Maybe they don't do it anymore. That's too bad. I would have gone on that.
God, John Cena just chucked gold dust off the boat.
Yes. Okay, that would be great.
I'm just going to say I would rather spend a week at sea with a bunch of a-hole over testosterone men who are bald and fat and, they're like, I'm still fucking hip.
Yeah.
Right? With their fucking tribal tattoos and they're white as fuck. And, anyway, I would rather do that than spend a week at sea with a bunch of crying, screaming, pee pants kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And a percentage on the boat of pedophiles that has to be no less than 10.
Sure.
10%. I'm
Sure.
upwards of 25.
But at the same time, you could probably say that about both cruises. So that's moot.
No, there's not going to be any
If you think these guys didn't have sex with underage girls, go fuck yourselves. They did.
Okay. Sure. I think it was a lot of the states it was legal, though.
Well, if you're a rock star, it was always legal.
The 80s was when they started upping some of those age of consents.
Yeah. Still questionable. Okay, moving forward past that.
So, I'm going to talk about the actors for a little bit because Jackie was trying to jump the gun on that, and we're going to save Ewan Ryan for the last one. God damn it, don't talk about Mick Mars yet.
Okay.
Douglas Booth, the guy who plays Nicky Six. I may remember him from Jupiter Ascending, but I don't. Who the fuck is he, Jackie? You know who this guy is? Who is this guy?
I do. He was in the vampire movie with Alicia Keys. Or no, not Alicia Keys.
Alicia Keys. I haven't seen that one.
We did it on the podcast.
That's not him, is it?
Yes, it is.
I don't think that's him.
Valley of the Damned.
That one.
Valley of the Damned.
Queen of the Damned.
Queen of the Damned, yes.
I don't think that's him.
I don't think that's him.
That's him.
I think he's too young.
That was like 20 years ago.
No, I don't think. I am almost certain that you are wrong.
I'm pretty
sure
that's
him.
None of us remember him from Jupiter Ascending.
He's the rock and roll vampire that's calling everybody out. Come out, wherever you are. He's Lestat.
God, that movie sucks. Yeah,
maybe his name was not Lestat.
I think he's in the Vampire Diaries or some shit like that.
No, he's from Queen of the Damned.
He's not.
And wasn't he also married to Charlize Theron?
Charlize Theron.
This guy is way too young for all of those things, Jackie.
I'm going to say no.
It's not the same.
We heard her. Charlize Theron's hearing about this for the first time. Charlize Theron. She's
actually calling me on the phone right now and saying, no, I didn't marry an 8-year-old, you dicks.
I did go on a Disney cruise, though, so things got weird.
Okay, so Daniel Webber plays Vince Neil. He's from Australia. I have never seen him in anything before. Have you seen him in anything before, Jackie?
He was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
No, he wasn't. No, it's not.
Yeah, he was. No, he was. He was the vampire in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
He's not Sean Penn. He looks kind of...
He does kind of look like Sean Penn.
Yeah, it was a good
Are you talking about Daniel Webber?
Webber, yes.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Nobody knows who he is. He's from Australia.
He
Douglas
actually
Booth is from England.
Daniel Webber was Sam and I's friend in college named Shelby. Shout out to Shelby. We knew this guy.
We knew this guy. We still know this guy. I see him every once in a while. Yeah, so you got Douglas Booth from England, I think. Daniel Webber's from Australia.
Okay.
The guy who plays Tommy Lee is one Colson Baker. Okay. That is his acting name because his music name is Machine Gun Kelly.
MGK.
I did not know who that was.
You didn't know who MGK was until today?
I know who MGK was. I haven't listened to his music. After watching him in this, I'm going to fucking check his shit out.
I would not.
Okay. I might not like it, but this guy's got he's got energy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's something you could say about Machine Gun Kelly for sure. I don't think that it's for you.
Probably not. But
who
whatever.
did Machine Gun Kelly play?
Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee.
And then, saving the last but not least, Ewan Ryan. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name because he's Welsh, and that's a really difficult thing for me. Welsh names, I don't know how it works. He's also a musician. We will know him as the most evilest man ever, Ramsay Bolton.
Sure.
Good choice on that one for Mick Mars.
So I'm not going to sing a lot of praises about this movie. I thought the cast was good. I thought the casting was great. Everybody did a good job.
He's also a musician. They apparently had to learn a handful of Motley Crue songs and be able to play them. Sure. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, what's his nuts won an Oscar by sticking in some fake teeth and lip syncing to Queen songs. So maybe these guys should get a little cred.
Too many titties.
Yeah, too many titties.
Which I'm fine with. Yeah, totally fine with it.
That's the other praise I will sing about this movie.
Yeah, there were some nice tits in this movie. I was like, damn, my boobs never looked that good.
Outside of Andy Sedaris, this might be the most titty-full movie we've ever done.
No, this has got more tits than a Sedaris movie.
Okay.
This is as titty-full, unless we start doing those tail-end Sedaris. They didn't have that many tits in them. Like, this Life Force is a lady walking around topless for 25 minutes, and it has less tits in it than this.
True.
This has got to be the most gratuitous nudity that we've ever done, because you have a lot of man asses and naked men, too.
Yeah.
Like, this is more nudity than any movie we've ever done.
Okay, I'll agree to it.
I liked it. I liked all the nudity. I was like, ooh, buns. And my one thought was they did some close-up on some man buns, and I was like, I wonder if they waxed their asses for this, or if they just kind of shaved off their butt hair. Because let's be realistic, all men have a little bit of butt hair, right?
Or they're just all too young to be in any Anne Rice movies from the early 2000s.
Yeah, what's your point, Jackie?
Okay.
If you think that Motley Crue shaved and waxed their butts, I'll say nope, they probably didn't.
Yeah, but the actors in this movie did. They all had smooth butts.
Okay. I have no energy to speculate on that topic.
Fans,
do you think that they have
on Blu-ray and do a hair count for us? Get it in 4K and give Jackie a hair count. Get in there with a magnifying glass and really investigate the butt hair of this movie. That's what we need to know.
I also realized that there were no butt zits in this movie, like ingrown hair, butt zits.
Give us an ingrown hair count, too.
Yeah, so I'm kind of thinking that these guys had butt facials before they went on stage. You know, where they do the nice little chemical peel on your butt and make it look like, you know, they kind of firm it up a little bit, and then they get all the ingrown hairs and the blackheads off your ass.
So, I mean, in terms of the makeup, Machine Gun Kelly is head-to-toe tattoos.
Right.
So he had to have a full body makeup done every day to cover his tattoos, and then later, as the movie progresses and more tattoos get on Tommy Lee, a layer of fake tattoos on top of the cover of tattoos. So there's some heavy makeup work being done on that man at least. After this book was out, this is something I did not know. In 2008, they were going to do an album called Dirt, but they got back together and did another original album, new music, called it Saints of L.A., and the single Saints of L.A. was apparently nominated for Best Rock Performance and lost out only to the Mars Volta.
Really?
Really?
Wow. Huh. Okay.
I didn't bother to listen to it. Because that is where really the interesting things about this end, and I'm going to finish with a tale of my personal tale of Motley Crue and me.
Okay.
I had done a roofing job. I had stripped a roof, and I'd got enough money from that when I was 11 years old that I could sign up to BMG.
BMG. Man, that's something the youngins are not going to know anything about, Sam.
I don't even know if you could look this up on the internet. They used to have a mailer, and you could get 10 or 11 free sweet tapes because it was cassette tapes.
For a penny, I believe.
For 1 penny, but then you had to buy at least 12 more over the next 2 years, and I had enough money for that. I could just blow it all in one load, so I instead mailed back the mailer saying, send me the full catalog. I'm going to blow my load on BMG. And I ran out of stuff that I actually wanted. And one of the ones that I was waffling between like a Fleetwood Mac, I ended up having to give away like 5 of these tapes. It was a really stupid thing to do.
Yeah. When you're 11, it's not like you've got like deep pockets on your tunes. You're not exactly getting, I'm going to go into the back catalog of Rufus Wainwright. You don't have that ability. You know like 5 bands when you're 11.
And you only have access to BMG's catalog.
Right.
And so it was like Cypress Hill, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Pearl Jam 10, I think, were the highlights of what you could get on that at that time.
Right.
There was a Fear of a Black Planet. Got that one. But I ended up with Decade of Decadence.
Okay.
And I listened to it once, and I still have this
hits.
tape. I still have this tape in a shoebox because it puzzles me. All of those tapes were worn out, disappeared. God knows those are tapes. The only cassette tape I have, and I may not have the Faith No More. I think that one left with the Bronco. That was the Faith No More. The real thing was in there. I got that from the BMG deal. But I got Decade of Decadence, and I've kept it all these years because I listened to it once, and I was confused. I was like, this is their best stuff? Like, Smoking in the Boys' Room was like the 3rd track, and I was like, this is their best stuff?
Smoking in the Boys' Room is awful.
It's awful. I listened to that once, and I'm like, well, I don't like these guys.
My favorite song for Motley Crue is definitely Girls, Girls, Girls.
And that song sucks.
And it's not a good song, but it's the one that I like the best out of their catalog.
It's so.
And the first time that I watched this movie, it was the only one that I recognized.
Really?
Yeah, and then I started looking into it, and I'm like, God, were these songs even popular? And I'm like, yeah, okay, I probably did hear them, but didn't like them at the time.
Okay.
Live
Because I was a kid in the 80s, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Live Wire happens at the beginning of this, and I'm like, that's Motley Crue? I actually kind of like that song, which means it may have been on side 2 of Decade of Decadence, and I didn't even bother with side 2.
Yeah, the thing is that, like, a lot of what people don't realize about the butt rock is that it was popular, but it wasn't pop music. So none of these, the Rats, obviously the Motley Crue, give me somebody else, Whitesnake,
Slaughter,
Poison. Well, no, Poison had some hits because the thing is that the Billboard didn't like butt rock. So it wasn't until Girls, 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 which was never a #1, and Home Sweet Home, that these guys actually became chart toppers. Warrant never had a chart, but She's My Cherry Pie was where these guys came from. Was a popularity on Sunset Boulevard, building a reputation, somewhat underground, but even though it was very overground, and MTV. As far as radio play, these bands did not. We were all listening to Whitney goddamn Houston. We've all forgot about that time. We weren't listening to the butt rock on the radio.
If you couldn't get their tapes, you couldn't listen to them.
That's right.
I believe that in the 80s, from what I can remember, it was a lot of Huey Lewis and the News,
Sure.
Billy Joel.
All hits. All hit makers. All
Police.
Billboard. All
the Police
Billboard
big.
princesses.
Yeah.
Butt rock was not a Billboard princess until about 89, right before a guy named Kurt Cobain shot it in the fucking face.
Just smashed it with a fucking giant sledgehammer. Like this thing.
It's probably better language to use rather than shooting somebody in the face talking about Kurt Cobain. But let's, too soon.
Yeah.
Well, they do give a shout out to him in this movie because they do have a big Pearl Jam on the side of one building, acknowledging that point.
Acknowledging the flash in the pan that this shit was, because like Def Leppard is lumped in here with these guys, and they sold some fucking albums. Def Leppard sold some fucking albums, and they got on the radio.
And Bon Jovi as well.
But that's the thing, is that the Police were the airplay after the 70s rock that was the glory days of rock.
Mm-hmm.
And this shit was like in the sun from 88 to 91. Dr. Feelgood, Appetite for Destruction, and then grunge happens, and it's all over.
Yeah, it's gone. And if you to circle this around, if you want to hear one of the worst albums that's ever been made, listen to Motley Crue's Generation Swine.
Yes.
It is so bad. I mean, Smoking in the Boys' Room is like, I'll go on a desert island and that's the only record I will take. Then listen to Generation Swine for 5 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my
God, Jackie's got a briefcase full of cassette tapes.
She has gone to the closet and got her tapes out.
Okay, so this tape thing that I've got here in my hands, ladies and gentlemen.
If Generation Swine is in there, we're throwing that out.
That was the CD.
My Uncle Clint, who grew up, his time was in the 80s. Let's see, I've got his driver's license here. Let's see what year he was born.
Okay.
Let's see, he was born in 1972, so he would have been about 10 years old.
Yeah, that's a good time.
At this point,
when
right?
this was happening, he was a teenager, and he was like right in it.
Yeah.
He's got Divinals.
Oh, okay. Not has nothing to do with
nope. That's post this.
Motley Crue. Yeah.
Kentucky Headhunter.
Okay, definitely not the. Wait, I think these are my tapes, Jackie.
Guns N' Roses.
Okay, yeah. There you go.
Which one?
Let's see.
Just show it to
Appetite
us.
for Destruction.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay. Mentioned already.
Still listen to that album almost weekly.
He's got The Big Chill, the original motion picture soundtrack.
There's some okay stuff on there. It's all oldies.
Leonard Skinner.
Okay.
This briefcase is full of shit.
Yeah.
He's got another soundtrack from The Big Chill. What the shit?
Like, are you
Motley Crue,
there
gentlemen?
It is, right there.
Oh yeah, which one is that?
Dr. Feelgood.
That's Dr. Feelgood. Yeah.
Yeah.
AC/DC Back in Black.
Everybody had that.
And Sammy Hagar, 3 Lock Box.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
You should put that. You should find a tape machine so you can listen to that and see how bad it is.
Sure, not good. Okay, let's move on from our human interest piece about Jackie's uncle. Anything else you got, Sam?
No, not really.
Okay, all right.
Oh, yeah. The odd coincidence that Machine Gun Kelly plays Tommy Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Machine Gun Kelly is the only American actor or person born on American soil that plays one of the 4 of them.
Okay.
Whereas all 3 of the others were born on American soil, whereas Tommy Lee was born in Athens, Greece.
Okay. All right.
Coincidence, I guess.
A little flippy floppy. Okay. So it starts out, as Sam said, with telling us that the 80s sucked because of big hair, keyboards, a flock of seagulls, which was both of those things, and just say no to drugs, which I'll give him the last one. Fuck off Nancy Reagan forever.
Well, the problem with the 80s was cocaine.
Right. Yeah. Well, I
no
mean,
one said no to it.
Nobody
Her
said no.
campaign was crap and it didn't work. Dare to say no, whatever.
Yeah. But then immediately they're like, so we decided to make it ours. We were counterculture rebels. And then it shows 1981 is when they're like, fuck the 80s. I'm like, dude, you haven't even heard of Flock of Seagulls yet, you jackasses.
Yeah.
The malls are coming. You're going to like them.
Yeah.
Got
Air
Orange
Supply is
Julius.
going to sell a lot of albums.
Oh, man, the Air Supply. Wait till they get on riding along the beach in bicycles together.
I love Air Supply.
I do, too.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. When this was, you had to buy their tapes. When this was happening, like, Air Supply and, Private Eyes.
Watching you.
Well, Hall & Oates, yeah. How do I have a brain fart on that? Hall & Oates were...
Here's a fun fact I learned about Hall & Oates. They're not Hall & Oates. They have never been Hall & Oates.
Really?
Ever. They are Daryl Hall and John Oates. Every single one of their albums, that is the band. Not Hall & Oates. Some jackass for New York Times fucking started calling them Hall & Oates, and then all of us started doing it too. And if you bring it up to Daryl Hall today, he gets fucking pissed about it because he's like, no, John Oates is a hell of a fucking musician, and you say both of his names.
Yeah, it's a guy that was saving words because they had so many goddamn hits. He had to save some words if you wanted to talk about them.
Yeah, right. Just a little fun fact there. Yeah, so, the 80s suck. We're all fucking counterculture. But you're not counterculture. You are the culture, you butthole. God, I fucking hate these guys. And then they claim that they're a gang of fucking idiots, which they are right, Sam. You are self-aware. And then we jump back into the past. The narrative shifts here and there with, we start out with Nicky giving us his narrative. And he's got a trollop mom. She sucks. She's bringing in new dudes every freaking Tuesday.
She's the typical 80s divorcee, which was still not cool in the 80s.
No,
she
this is
an
in the 70s,
alcoholic.
honey. This is in the 70s, honey.
Oh, okay. So in the 70s.
Actually, it would have been late 60s, but whatever.
Yeah, it's still not cool no matter what, if it's before the 2000s.
If this really happened and he cut himself to get orphaned, then she was worse than what we saw.
Yes,
yeah.
Agreed. Completely agreed. But we'll get to that, Sam. So he cuts himself. Mom gets arrested, and he's like, "No, I'm never going to see you again. I want nothing to do with you. I'd rather live in an orphanage than be around you." He also kind of sucks, though.
But wait, you're saying that he chose the orphanage. He did not.
Well, that was
she says
options.
You can do whatever you want as long as you tell the truth and get me out of prison. And he was like, okay, I'll do that. But you don't get to question me anymore, and you stay the fuck out of my life.
I did not get that. I
couldn't tell what happened, but either way, whether he went through protective services or whether he told his mom to fuck off and she did right there, he cut himself, brought the police in to orphan himself one way or the other. He was orphaned.
Correct.
Right. And I've watched this movie like 4 times now. So
what are you? You were like, oh, I didn't have a good time. You've seen this 4 times and you made fun of it for having it. You fucking love
that
this
was a
movie
red
if you've
herring.
watched it 4 times.
Fuck you guys. That was a red herring.
Okay.
You're a weird person.
I'll take it. Whatever.
Yeah, I've watched this movie 4 times. So yes, he uses this situation in order to get his mom to fuck off and leave him alone, and for her boyfriends to stop fucking abusing him. Like, he will get her out of this situation, but she just needs to let him do whatever the fuck he's gonna do.
Huh. Not the impression I got, but I've only seen this movie once, and I will not be watching it again. So there you go. Anyways, he grows up living on the streets. He's got no money. He's got no job. He's got no friends, and there you are. So he tries to call his dad, and his dad's like, "You never go around here again. I went out for smokes, and I never came back, and you should have figured that out because I imagine that's the type of person you are." So he's like, "Fuck you, guy whose name I share. I'm going to change it to Nicky Six." And it's not, like, that's the most, I think, interesting thing that happens in this movie, because we got to admit, the thing about Motley Crue, these guys do have cool stage names. I think they're cool. Nicky Six is a cool name. Mick Mars is a cool name. Vince Neil is kind of like a guy that you might have as a neighbor name, but...
never trust a man with 2 first names.
That's a good point.
Smoking jacket and a martini and a cigar with Vince Neil.
Tommy Lee's got 2 names, too. So,
yeah, 2 first names.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a drug dealer.
Yeah, right. Where'd you come up with Nicky Six? It's a great name. It's a great rock name, dude. Then nothing, no time is spent on that at all. So now we switch to Tommy. He's going out with his girlfriend. He's got a fairly stable growing up, very suburban Californian lifestyle that he lives.
He seems like he has a super nurturing environment because he's like, I was in a marching band, but now I want to be a glam rocker. And you're like, well, good for you, son. Just get something to eat before you leave. You're looking a little too skinny.
Right.
Yeah, and he borrows his sister's pants. So
I think he stole them. She never got those back.
No, she never got those back.
Yeah, so he's got, I mean, out of all of them, it kind of seems like he has the most relatable story for me as far as that home environment, right? Like loving parents, you sit down for dinner kind of crap.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So he goes to see Nicky's band, London, I guess. I don't know why they were called London, but, you know.
Because LA band sucks, that's why.
LA band sucks, and because these guys are all a bunch of fucking posers. That's why. And I'll get to that later. I've got some things to say about the Motley Crue. Anyways, they meet up. They like each other. And they're like, you got drumsticks. You can be in my band, which is pretty much, I mean, that's authentic. I mean, people like to think that, I used to tour for these. A lot of bands are made with like, you play.
Yeah.
Are you any good? That doesn't even come up. You play. Okay, you'll do right now. I need a drummer.
We got a drummer off Craigslist one time. Yeah. His name was Jeff. Mm-hmm. We're like, oh, God, we got to go on Craigslist to get a drummer. Jeff shows up, has his own drums. He can play. Mm-hmm. That was our drummer the whole time. I'm on bass. Sasha's on guitar. Jeff is on drums. Mm-hmm. You know what we could never find? A singer who wasn't a fucking asshole.
Oh, that's because they don't exist.
They don't exist.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. And, you know, in this scene, he's there with, Tommy Lee is there with his girlfriend at the diner. They have said that London had a big fight on the stage, and that was the most exciting part of their show.
Right.
And then he decides to ditch his girlfriend and have pancakes with Nikki Sticks.
Nikki Sticks.
Mm-hmm.
She's watched this so many times. She's an authority on Motley Crue. She knows their names.
Where did you have to go? You should tell like how many places you scraped up people for your band. Because I gave up after Jeff was like the shining gem. And then after like 4 fucking singers, I was like, I'm done. I'm out.
We could make a documentary on Coalhaven as well because, I know it'd be pretty boring. It's just a revolving door of, you suck. Get out of here. Oh, shit. Now we don't have a guitarist. Get him back. Get him back. Where are we going to get a guitarist? Hey, we're sorry. Oh, God, this guy does suck. We're too poor. People like, when you're 19 and trying to start a band, it's like, yeah, I want to be in a band. Well, what do you play? I don't. Okay, well, that's not a problem. You can play bass and we'll walk you through it. Do you have a bass? No. Do you have any money? No. I guess we're buying you a bass.
Yeah. And then you were on the wrong end of it because I was the bass player trying to get a band.
Right.
And the one thing when you're the bass player and you're the band dad, you're never going to find a singer because you've got the rest of the band is a rhythm section that you've put together that's probably pretty good. And everybody is going to be an asshole to you.
Yeah, right.
They want to take breaks all the time. We're like, dude, fuck off with that shit.
All right. So back to, as Jackie calls them, Thomas G and Nikki Sticks.
You're not gonna even ask me about my band?
Yeah, because we know.
I did have a band.
Okay, go ahead, Jackie. Well, tell us all about it.
It wasn't good. And it was a one-night thing where we recorded some shit, and then it was like, I just want to come over here and get drunk. I don't need all this,
If you made it to recording, you made it 90% farther than every other band.
Yeah, I mean, we did recording, and I was like, you know what? This is a lot of fucking work, and I don't care.
It's on a tape machine.
I was in college, and I was like, I'm done. And they were like, well, okay. That was it.
Okay, cool. We now cut
Nobody
back
slept with me or tried to have sex with me at a concert like in this movie.
No.
I never got to that stage, never performed anywhere. So, I mean, I really feel like maybe I should have done this. Maybe I could have seen like a whole new world of wieners. Like in Aladdin, I could have been on a magic carpet ride and it would just been like wieners everywhere. But no, didn't happen for me. Did you guys have any boobs or anything thrown your way?
I had a magic carpet made of wieners, Jackie, in my band. Yeah.
No, like
that's how
the
cool
ladies like throwing themselves at you like in this movie. No. Oh.
Get your friends to come over. They're all dudes.
Can we move
There's
on?
one that really thinks you're awesome, and you're like, you must be retarded.
Our complete lack of talent and cohesion as a musical entity. Okay, so they get Mick via an ad, and they kick out their original guitarist, and then that's pretty authentic. And they find Vince doing covers. He's in a cover band. He's like his cover band's kind of like what's that guy? Disco, popular in the 70s.
Disco Stew?
Disco Rick.
Might as well be Disco Stew. Their band is kind of fancy. It's not, he's playing pop dance music, not heavy metal.
Yeah.
And this is Tommy Lee's friend from high school.
Right. Vince Neil is.
And when we see this scene, like they're at some kind of like,
just
I'm going to say it looks like a fraternity or a sorority party.
Sure. Yeah.
This is LA in 1981.
That's
the ladies are crowding the stage because he's got such a presence about him.
Yeah. That's I don't okay. That's
I've
all
never
real
seen
stuff,
that. Like,
Jax.
I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. I've dated
Maybe-
2 musicians that were, had concerts that I met up with, but
I should
2
should
famous
get you a
musicians, but like
subscription oh my God.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right now. You're trying to make yourself sound like an authority on what is happening inside of this movie, and you are completely unqualified to talk about anything that happens in this movie. For Christmas, I'm getting you a subscription to VH1, and you can just learn all about this shit and be like, oh, it turns out I knew fucking nothing.
And that's when things fell apart.
That's when they almost lost it all. Okay.
No,
all right. Let's move.
I'm gonna
Jackie,
say
stop
I
telling us stories because you aren't qualified to talk about them.
I'm not qualified to talk about them, and I want to be cool so bad.
Okay, well,
it's never gonna happen.
One thing you could be cool is to let us get through this pile of shit movie that you've made us watch.
Hey, the
Okay,
pile of
so
shit movie. I've seen this thing 4 times.
He gives them a demo. He gives Vince a demo tape and says our phone number's on it. If you like it, give us a call, blah, blah, blah. So he does. And he comes in for a jam sesh in Tommy Lee's apartment, I'm guessing. And he brings this groupie that he just freaking met with her. And she starts being like Yoko Ono. And like, well, actually not even Yoko Ono after watching that fucking Let It Be thing that Peter Jackson did. But the reputation that Yoko Ono has is telling the Beatles what to do. That's who she's pretending to be.
I have questions then, because she has a Porsche and her own apartment. So she's got money, but she wants to rise higher. And she sees this guy and she's like, this guy's oozing sex. He can really sing. I'm going to latch on. And she's going to be his like personal manager and blowjob lady.
I think she wants to be the wife
married to
or
rich guy.
girlfriend of somebody famous.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
she's got the money part, but she wants the notoriety and the
That's-
fame of being associated with somebody who is
a groupie.
in the spotlight.
That's
No, groupies don't have any fucking money. This lady's got money. She wants a
Her motivations
puppeteer,
are
a
the
rock
same,
star.
Well, Jackie's describing her motivations, and those are the motivations of every groupie ever. Again, she's not qualified to talk about these things because it's like, yeah, that's a groupie. That's what
This
that
lady
person
wants
is.
to puppeteer a rock star.
Yeah. Okay. That's still a groupie, Sam.
Hi,
All
my
the
name's
groupies want that.
Pinocchio.
They don't just want to be banged by rock stars. They are all looking to be their wives. That is what a groupie is by definition.
She wants more than this. She like wants to be the person in charge of the fame.
That's where all the groupies think that they're going to end up. Like, oh, I'll get here. That's what they all think that they're going to be. This is just
whatever.
a groupie. This is just a groupie.
She has a fucking Porsche in an apartment. Not your average groupie.
Fine, but her motivations
she's got
are the
some
same.
dough.
Okay, who cares? The dough is irrelevant to me. Oh, so rich people can't be groupies. You guys are goddamn socialist elitists again. God damn it.
No, it's
Usually the
just
rich
that,
people are groupies to other richer people.
yeah,
Like
and
Wall
in
Street
this case,
types and
she's hanging her hat on somebody who is maybe a rising star.
That is what a groupie is. Okay, we're
But
moving on.
Groupies
She is a
usually
fucking groupie.
don't have any money for drugs.
No, they do. They do.
okay.
They do.
All right.
God damn it. Okay, so they start playing. She's bossing them around, but then they're like, oh, okay, let's drop this down a half step and bring the tempo down to quarter time. And she's like, oh my God. They have got it.
And the scene when they like focus in on her, the one thing I noticed was those are some really nice gold leaf looking earrings. Like
Okay.
she has some good taste.
All right. Fantastic. So they do their first show.
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
glad that you acknowledged me and
Yeah,
that you
good
didn't
work.
just throw me under
Scott-
the bus.
Nice earrings. Wow, we could go for half hour on her fucking earrings. Who cares?
We should not skip over how much of a nutsack Tommy Lee is on screen here. He's burning roaches rather than catching them and throwing them out and killing them in some other way. That's the most smelly way to kill a roach.
That is a very smelly
That's just
thing.
got to be awful.
Yeah, and on carpet. Burning carpet, even if you're not killing a roach, burning carpet smells real bad.
Yuck.
Yuck. All right. So they do their first show. It's at this little shitty club, whatever. And they get in a fight immediately because the guy's like, hey, you're a bunch of pussies. And they're like, yeah, we know, but let's go. So they beat up some of the people. And the rest of the people are like, that was awesome. And I'm like, you know what? If I saw that, I probably wouldn't like it.
No.
Like, I got to get out of here. I'm leaving. I don't want nothing to do with this. But it is a good way to make a name for yourself on the Sunset Strip in 1982 or whenever this takes place.
Did they really beat people up?
The Motley Crue?
Yeah.
No, they do not. Vince Neil got his ass kicked by Nicolas Cage.
Well, Nick Cage, that's not... I feel like Nick Cage could kick a lot of people's ass.
Has 10 years on Vince Neil.
What? Tell this story.
Cage.
Yeah, it's Nick Cage. Vince Neil was at a fucking hotel in Las Vegas, and he was drunk and being stupid. This was like just not that long. This was like 2016. And being stupid. And so he starts pushing this lady around, like one of the wait staff or his girlfriend. I don't know. And he ends up smacking her in front of Nick Cage. And Nick Cage is like, oh, hell no. So he takes fucking Vince Neil outside and whips his ass. And the cops had to come. And they arrested Vince Neil because Nick was like, yeah, he's a real douchebag. And they're like, well, of course he is, Mr. Cage. Well, is there anything else you need from us? You got any towels? We're the police. Oh.
Do you know where I can unload this suitcase full of panda meat?
Yeah. All right. So everybody else loves it. They become a big deal, and we have one of our first of many montages of douchebaggery, as how I'm labeling it. And anybody want to talk about the montage, the first montage of douchebaggery? Can I skip to Pete Davidson?
There's a lot of tits in it.
Yeah, there's lots of tits. Okay.
Lots of tits.
Yeah. I can't describe those via... I mean, I wish I was T.S. Eliot and could...
I looked up
pen
to
some
see
words together to describe the beauty of a boobie, but you've seen one. I mean, go to the internet. That's what it looks like.
The Elektra comes and signs them, and you get Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
Elektra's been around since 1950, apparently.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So he signs them, Pete Davidson, whatever his character's name is, and then Mick tells. It then tells us that while Pete Davidson is citing him, they bring in a manager, and Mick Mars comes to the camera and says, hey, guess what? This whole movie is fucking lies.
There was two of them, because it took two people to wrangle Motley Crue, apparently. And Doc McGee was only one of them, and Doc McGee talks about all the other bands that he managed. He did that after he managed these guys, because he was brought in and be like, well, you could handle the crew, so you need to clean up these guys' act.
Okay. I mean...
Well, we can't, dismiss the fact that when Pete Davidson's character goes in to offer them a contract, they're sitting at a round table, what looks like to be a titty bar or something like that, and his pants get unzipped, and he starts getting a blowy from underneath the table, and he jumps up, and there's a chick down there that's just making the rounds. And then the other guy, I don't really understand, and I mean, maybe you guys have more information about this, but why they cut the second guy out?
Cut the second guy out.
The second manager.
That's because, again, you guys are missing the part where Mick Mars looks into the camera and says, this whole movie is a bag of lies. We cut this out, the actual history, because it's boring. And so we put this bullshit scene in where David Lee Roth gets a mirror smashed over his head to make it fit in with everything else we're trying to fucking sell you. They come out and say the movie is bullshit. It is a lie. And I'm like, God damn it. I'm supposed to like this shit? No. It's fucking smoke and mirrors on David Lee Roth's head. No? Nobody else cares about them?
No, I thought that if they're getting the main gist of it, it's probably fine.
We made it up. Okay.
Yeah, the squirter lady, I'm sure that's true.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it is. Now, fuck all this shit. It's all fucking horse shit. All this crap is fucking horse shit. Even Ozzy says 90% of what you've heard about him is fucking phony.
Well, and I heard that Ozzy said that him sniffing the ants with a straw was false.
Yeah. It's all just.
I'm sure he didn't lick pee off of the ground.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, that was gross.
Everybody loves to think like they all OD'd. Vince Neil fucking killed a guy. I mean, but
they did trash the hell out of hotel rooms.
Yeah,
and
right.
Probably have all the STDs.
Not to the level of the fucking Who. Not to the level of fucking Zepp. I mean, and even a lot of the stories about Zepp are fucking false. Well, like the fucking snake and everything.
Yeah, but the thing is that they didn't get to the level because they all lived. You just named what happens when you do it like they're saying they did it. One of them's not gonna make it.
One of them didn't make it, Sam, in both of the bands that I just mentioned. That's what I'm just saying,
is that they didn't do it at that level because these guys all lived.
All are still alive. Yeah, right. Okay, gotcha. All right. Except for Vince Neil. He died last week of... No, he didn't die, but he probably did die. Then they brought him back. Stuck a broom up his ass and said, you're back on steel, Vince Neil.
They just waved a bag of In-N-Out in front of his face and woke right up.
Okay, so there's a bunch of things. They get big. They're doing stadium tours. We got more montages of them fucking banging chicks and doing drugs and blah, 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 blah. You even say blah, blah, blah in this movie.
Yes, Mick Mars does it a couple of times. He just looks and goes blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's just all
I found it marginally interesting that after all of the banging he did, that Vince Neil fell for a mud wrestler, which was confirmed on the internet. She was a mud wrestler.
Okay, all right. Did you see the footage? Was it good?
I just don't think that doesn't do anything for me.
I don't get mud wrestling
all
either.
of this thing, like, they are in a unique situation where they go to a strip club, they take the strippers home. That's like a 99% thing that doesn't happen, right? Sure. I have no interest in paying money to not have sex. It seems to pay money for sex. I'm just like, oh no, it's dumb.
Multiple times on the podcast. Let's instead come up with a ladies sporting challenge that would be sexy, like mud wrestling supposedly is. And I'm going to go first, and I'm going to say naked beach volleyball. Anybody?
Beach volleyball is fucking hot enough as it is. It's fine.
Yeah, but
there's
now they're
nothing
naked.
wrong with it.
Now they're naked.
That seems dumb. They're good at volleyball. They've already dressed down too much, I think.
You
watch a college volleyball team, they're wearing tight pants, and it's hot enough as it is.
Jackie,
you like that sort of thing.
Jackie, sex up a sport like to rival mud wrestling.
Fruit racing.
Fruit racing.
Yeah, so you start off with a cherry that you have to keep between your hoo-ha, and then you get to the next person.
Hoo-ha.
Yeah, well, yeah, in your lips, in the lip area, and then you have to squeeze your lips out to the next runner, who then has to. Then you have to squeeze it into the bucket when you get there, right? Drop it in the bucket. And then the next person has a little bit bigger fruit that they have to keep in their lips while they run.
Okay.
Until you eventually get to a pineapple.
That's awful. That's so gross. It's way worse than what I came up with, which is what you get the hot dog eating contest, because that's apparently a sport, right?
Sure.
You're an athlete.
It is.
You just get women with giant breasts to hit them with their breasts while they're trying to eat the hot dogs.
Okay. Oh, all right.
I'd watch that for like 4 minutes and then I get bored with it.
You would want to be a competitor. That's the thing.
I don't want to choke to death.
Oh,
there's a hazard. That's very dangerous.
Dangerous titty sport. Okay, all right. There you go. There you go. ESPN the Ocho. We got some new shows for you right there. All right. So, Tommy wants to get married because the other thing this movie tries to kind of hint at is that Tommy is he's a hopeless romantic, perennially falling in love and getting too drunk or too high or too abusive, and then the lady runs away, and then he falls in love with another one or whatever.
Yeah, he's got such a big heart. It's just a problem that his wiener does all of his thinking.
Right. And his fists. So she's like, hey, your mom's a fucking see you next Tuesday because she thinks I'm a groupie, because I am. I mean, see, the thing is, the movie even tells, like, she's doing the exact same thing as the other person doing. The movie says, you're a groupie, and Jackie's like, no, she wasn't a groupie.
She's a groupie. She doesn't have a groupie.
Doesn't matter if she has money or not. They're groupies.
Whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I knew I know of Sunset Boulevard groupies. I'm not going to name any names. They had money, and they still toured the field of dudes. Money is not a calculator. It's not that they're wanting money. They've got money. They want something else. They want what the ladies have on the Instagram today. Fame as well.
Yeah.
This lady is obviously low-class trash.
Oh, yeah, she's total trash.
The portrayal here is that they're accusing Tommy Lee of really getting hooked hard by a real trashy one.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Nikki Sixx.
Six, Jackie.
Six.
For the love of God.
Sorry.
I love this movie. Get it right then.
He's banging her in the scene before she gets introduced to the parents.
Right.
So
That's
she's...
She's a troll. Yeah, she's a troll. She's, that's what groupies are, Jackie. They're the lowest of low people. So
she's a dick inserter. She's a dick ATM.
Inserter.
She is
a dick ATM. Like, you go put your card in the ATM and you get money out. Well, you put your dick in her and you get to put your sperm out there.
Of her? That would be like the guy who fills up the ATM with money.
Yeah, whatever. She's a bicycle. Everybody's got a ride.
Okay, all right. So anyways, she's like, your mom's see you next Tuesday. So he punches her in the fucking face. Hey, that's our hero. Wow,
she stabbed him with a pen first.
She did stab him with the pen.
And then she kept repeatedly trashing his mom after she stabbed him. Mm-hmm. I'm still not going to defend him, but...
You are.
The bus driver... No, here's the problem. The bus driver did not stop and kick her off.
The bus driver did not... Like, when he smacks her, she collides into the bus driver, and the bus driver's like, ugh.
Like, dude, stop.
Stop the bus. Somebody could die. Just stop. Let her out. It's fine. God damn it, stupid bus driver, your license needs to be revoked.
But the history confirms that that was more than one woman that he hit, so...
Oh, yeah. It's Tuesday, says the bus driver. Okay, so it's the mid-'80s now. They're the biggest band in America, whatever.
Are they, though?
No, not really.
Did they have as many hits as Daryl Hall and John Oates?
No, they're getting there. It's 1985. Oh, in 1988, Motley Crue was way bigger than anybody else, Sam. Just one year. But so they're getting there. They're known. Everybody knows who Motley Crue is in 1985. So Vince's wife is pregnant. They're throwing a party. And this is the story we all know if you know anything about anything. We need more booze. Let's get in the car. Guitarist from Hanoi Rocks. And Vince Neil crashes his Corvette, and what's his name from Hanoi Rocks dies.
I'm going to burn a question now. Why did they change this to a Corvette?
No, it was a Corvette.
No, it was a Di Tommaso Pantera, which is a very easy car to source a kid from.
It totally was a Di Tommaso. The guy from Def Leppard crashed his Corvette. It was a Pantera. You're totally right. What the fuck?
Why would they do that? Because that's a car that you could actually source a kit on.
Yeah,
and make a really cheap version of it just for crashing.
Yeah, no shit.
Are they referencing like the Def Leppard's like, hey, let's sling a little Def Leppard this way just for the movie's sake or something? But that was not a Corvette. It was a Pantera.
Yeah, you're right.
And so what was that? He was in Hanoi Rocks, right?
Correct.
That immediately dissolved when that happened.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know this guy who dies in the car.
No, you do not.
Can you name some songs that his band did?
If we did, you would not know them.
Oh, good Lord. I just spent how much talking I hate Motley Crue. How the hell am I going to know the band that opens for them songs?
Hanoi Rocks is a total... You should actually check out Hanoi Rocks.
I'll check out Hanoi Rocks.
I'll just get to the thing right now that I was going to say about all this shit, about what Motley Crue is they were want-to-be punks. That's what they wanted to be. They didn't want to be heavy metal guys. They wanted to be punks before they were Motley Crue, but they were so not counterculture, and which is the irony of punk, and we can get into that on a separate podcast. But they were so not anti-culture, the words I'm looking for.
Counterculture.
They were not counterculture. They were
accounting culture.
Accounting culture.
10 key punks, baby.
That's what they were. They were accounting culture. They were just corny ass white dudes that didn't want to burn the system down. They wanted to become the system and lead it.
I think you're giving him too much credit. They wanted
no.
hookers and blow, and they got it.
That's the system. That is the goddamn system. That's not punk. That's just being a douche. Which a lot of punk is also just being a douche. But anyway, so nobody liked him in the punk fucking scene. And so they were like, oh, let's put on makeup and be glammy. Hanoi Rocks was not that. Hanoi Rocks was like this, we are punk, but we also like fucking thrashing. So we're going to do both of it. And their music is actually okay.
All right.
I think you should check them out. You probably won't like it. It's not going to be like, oh my God, Hanoi Rocks is my new band. But like, oh, okay. I see you, Hanoi Rocks.
Okay.
Like kind of Twisted Sister-y, but not silly. Not a cartoon of that, but like...
You know, I mean, I don't hate Twisted Sister. I like a lot of their songs. I just respect the living shit out of them as for what they did.
Right, yeah. But Hanoi Rocks never got... I mean, there was... The formula for them was never going to be there. They're more punk than they were, oh, we're pretty boys. You know, so...
They're a little weird kind of, right?
Yeah, a little kooky. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So he dies, blah, blah, blah. Tommy meets Heather Locklear, blah, blah, blah. Nikki's pumping H, blah, blah, blah. That's my three notes.
Pumping so much H, he's running, he runs out of veins.
Yeah, right. Blah, blah, blah. But I mean, you already know all that shit. I mean, like, again, so whatever. Their new album sucks. That's the one with
did we go over him dying? Or are we there yet?
We haven't got there yet.
That he OD'd and that...
we haven't got there yet. We haven't got there. So the new album comes out. It sucks. It's the one with Home Sweet Home on it. I can't remember what that one's called. It's got
Theater of Pain.
Theater of Pain. Thank you. It stinks.
But it used to originally be called Theater of Entertainment because...
Entertainment of Death, Jackie. Four times have you seen this movie. Entertainment of Death.
Yes, because the band manager gets it tattooed on his arm, and then they're like, oh, we changed it. And he's like, fuck.
So then, same guy, he calls up Nikki's mom, and it's like, hey, come down for the show. It's Christmas time. These guys used to be called Christmas. It'll work. And it doesn't. So it goes poorly. He throws a bottle down in her face and never sees her again. And then he does so much H that he dies twice. That didn't come out in the movie. He died twice in one day.
Yeah. I did like this scene, though, because the paramedics like, this is Nikki fucking Sixx. This is not happening on my watch.
That's the guy I want to resuscitate me when I have an OD, because that guy was awesome.
Yeah. So he gives him a second shot of adrenaline, and then when Nikki Sixx wakes up, he's like, yo!
And he's like, ow, it hurts.
Yeah.
Bam, motherfucker!
It almost kind of had like a feel of ta-da, magic show.
Yeah. Prestidigitation.
Vincent Vega's like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So, yeah, that did happen, except for he died twice. It was within 10 minutes, but they brought him back both times. So then he goes right back to doing more H. But finally, they all go to rehab, the whole band. They clean themselves up. They record Dr. Feelgood, the one that Jackie's got in her hand. Probably their best album for people that know or like. I mean, it's their most popular, right?
It's the only one that they had that topped the charts, and it's it's one of a few of this era's that actually topped charts, right?
I don't think "Kickstart My Heart" is the worst song on the planet. I hate it.
Fucking hate that album.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't like the album. I think Dr. Feelgood sucks.
Yeah.
But
I like that song.
My Heart's kind of fun. Yeah. Like if you were to play "Kickstart Your Heart" at the opening of a sporting event, I'd probably get kind of a little pumped. You know.
I don't like it.
Okay. You wouldn't get pumped a little bit?
No, I think you go with Rock Me Like a Hurricane in any situation where that might work.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That was the same year that Feed My Frankenstein came out. And Feed My Frankenstein was my shit.
Really? I thought that song sucked too.
That song, no, in post, like now I'm a very adult man, Feed My Frankenstein blows ass. But man, I loved it in 1988. I ain't evil, I'm just good looking. does that even mean? Okay. All right, so 1991 comes. The grunge thing's happening. They're not doing good. They all hate each other, which I'm sure is stress-related because their albums are tanking. Nobody fucking cares anymore, except for people that still listen to Bon Jovi, because fucking Bon Jovi had the stupid record that year, and it's like, God damn, dude, it's like the shittiest Bon Jovi record.
It's like the whole scene was just offended by the natural cycle of things.
Right,
they were so
right.
stupid that they thought it was going to last forever. Yeah, they were on a short cycle because they sucked.
Right.
And it happened to every scene, right?
It's like Donna Summer punching out a guy because she's mad at herself because she wasn't like, because Disco's dead and it's her fault. It's not her fault. She was good. She was real good. But like, imagine Donna Summer acting like these assholes.
Yeah, no. And then they're like, oh, they ruined it for us. No, they didn't. They made music that was way better than what you were making.
Yeah, and what's his name from Def Leppard's like, oh no, we were making good music at that time too. No, you were never. You were never. I'll say this. I hate Def Leppard more than I hate Poison, Sam.
I struggle with this era so much that I can't even tell. What's a Poison song?
Smoking in the Boys Room?
No, that's
these guys.
They did that in this movie.
Every Rose Has
November
a Thorn.
Rain.
That's
That's
not
Guns N'
Poison.
Roses.
Are you kidding me? And that's an amazing song.
Poison.
Every Rose Has its Thorn.
I don't like that at
No.
all.
No, that song sucks.
But again, it's probably better than anything that Leopard did.
Leopard blows, and people still right now I'm getting hate mail for
Yeah, people love
hating
these guys.
Def
And that's
Leppard.
other thing I don't get about this whole scene is that their ravenous fans stayed with them and they're still pissy about grunge. And I'm like,
They're still pissy about grunge.
your fans still love you. What the fuck, you nitty spoiled assholes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the top Poison songs that come up. Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
Right.
Something to Believe In.
Yeah.
Unskinny Bop. Talk Dirty to Me. And I Won't Forget You.
Unskinny
Joking-
Bop.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, gross. Unskinny Bop, bop, bop. That song sucks. That song sucks.
Oh, wow.
Unskinny Bop? Like, fuck off. Jesus Christ, that's the one I was thinking of Smoking in the Boys Room because it was just so bad.
I like Winger more than I like that.
You like Winger, totally.
The
And
17
Winger has
Winger,
a
right?
song about
The
underage sex.
The rapey song is better
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah. Oh, God. Cherry Pie is also about a teenage girl. So
I think
fuck Warren.
they're
Fuck 'em
both
all.
gross.
Yeah. Okay, so they're all pissy, and Vince is like, I've had enough. I'm out. And the rest of the band's like, you know what? We've lived a really good life. We should take our victories and invest in some real estate and just raise our families. And so that's what they do, and the movie ends on a very delightful note. No, it doesn't. No, he quits, and they're like, "Ooh, fuck you."
And then they do the worst thing. I didn't even know about this until today because I looked it up. So they redo a self-titled Motley Crue album and try to
Right.
rebrand as and go into the grunge scene. And it's like, just fucking take what you have and go, wow, our fans still love it. Really? You're going to crap out and try to assimilate to something you can't fucking do?
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah, and I'm
I
telling
was
you,
gonna try to listen to that album.
You should listen to Generation Swine instead.
I've heard every note that I need to hear from that ever again.
The
Yeah,
first
because
one.
he got
I had
it
to when
from
it
the
came out.
BGT or whatever, BG.
No, he had Decade of
Records thing.
Decadence, Jackie.
I got fucking free tickets to Kiss and
What?
the Generation Swine because when I was at BSU Radio or whatever, every once in a while there'd be tickets, and that's how well that went. Was that it was really hard if it was a band that anybody had heard of, you weren't going to get the tickets, right? Nobody wanted the Generation Swine Kiss tour thing, and so I went, and I kind of feel bad for not staying for Kiss or whatever, but like it was when you could go have readmittance into a venue before that quit being a thing. I left. I went outside during the Motley Crue show, and then I went back in when I thought Kiss was going to play. They showed up, no makeup, no nothing, and I can't remember what they led with, and I was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm going home.
Yep. That sounds about right. I only went to Motley Crue once, and it was in 2002, I want to say.
That's the show, right?
Oh, then no, Kiss wasn't there. I can't remember who opened.
Maybe it wasn't with Kiss. Maybe it was with somebody else. I think I left a Kiss concert too, though.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so they get John Corabi, and that guy got shit on. It's not his fault. It's the same way with the guy from Van Halen after Sammy Hagar. Not your fault. It's the other guy's fault. This album sucks so bad. You aren't good. Don't think I'm complimenting you, but it's not your fault. It's the other guy's fault.
Well, and they also show in this movie, like, during that time when Vince has been kicked out, essentially, or he quits, whatever,
right,
that his daughter gets diagnosed with a tumor in her stomach, and eventually she dies.
Yeah, that did happen, and it fucking sucks ass, and I feel terrible for that man. I'm surprised he didn't, like, if you're gonna do what you did and get real close to dying, how did you survive not killing yourself then, Vince? I mean, I will give him respect for what he did with his daughter, period.
And I kind of wonder if it wasn't like the nautical themed bar that he kept going to, that the bartender was there and was
That's just
always
Joe's Crab
talking
Shack,
to him.
Jackie. That's just, they got delicious crab.
That wasn't some kind of comfort, because, you know, at that point his wife had left him.
Crabs is great.
Yeah. He had the crabs. They were talking to him at night. It was really helpful. But, you know, when the band comes back together and they find him there and he cries, it's just fucking heartbreaking. It's just...
What movie did you watch?
The Dirt.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I felt like, yeah, this guy fucking lost his band. You know, he left.
He didn't lose it. He left.
He left his band, which was his family, essentially, because they do the tour date thing, right?
No,
where they show all the tour dates.
Family.
So
he had a literal family.
Yeah.
Part of it died.
Yeah. That's the thing, is that this is Nikki Sixx's closest thing to a family. These
Not
other guys,
anybody
and then
else's.
maybe Mick Mars, but Mick is just like, this is a fun ride.
Yep.
Yes, I get to play guitar.
Yeah.
I'm alive still.
This is like, I actually had a family. Tommy and Lee's like, I've had 30 of them. That's not what Vince is going through at all right here, Jackie.
Well, and I think that they try to show that they are more than just a band, because they do that tour date thing where they show them from like February through October or November, where they're just back-to-back dates and they're not at home. And that's when Tommy Lee loses Heather Locklear as his wife, right? Because he's just not there.
No, because he had sex with many, many other women.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they also show that where she's like, you stepped out on me with a porn star. But
a lot of them.
After that long tour date, though, that they showed, that's when the wife leaves Vince, and then the daughter gets cancer. I don't know. It's all fucking sad right here. This whole little part of the movie is just
fell apart.
Shitty.
Yep, that's when they almost lost it all, actually. They almost lost it all the whole time. Yeah, so they get back together. Mick gets a new hip, and you know the rest of the story. They play together for the next 20 years. And
apparently got nominated for a Grammy in there.
Yeah, and got nominated for a number. That's just wild to me.
I was I don't know. I was gonna listen to the grunge album, and I was gonna listen to that one before we did this, and I got the Spotify open, and I just couldn't click the button.
Yeah, and they also skip over the whole Pamela Lee thing, even though that so Vince's daughter dies in the mid-90s. Tommy and Pam were together like 90 on. So half of this movie, he's married to Pamela Lee, and she's not even fucking in it.
Yeah, but he's saying that Heather Locklear was the one who got away.
Right. Well,
so
this
maybe
movie
that
is saying that's what he's saying.
Right. So, I mean, maybe what he's trying to say is that Pamela was not the end-all be-all for me.
No, but
even though he stayed married to her for longer than he was ever with anyone for any given time.
He was only married to Heather Locklear for like 6 months, Jax.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't a long-term thing. It was and then I think he married somebody else in between her and Pam Ann, and then he married like 5 other ladies after Pam. But yeah, it's all fucking this movie is fucking bullshit. It is selling, and you are subscribing to it, Jackie. You are subscribing to this man boy fantasy that, oh, these guys are just fucking misunderstood. No, they were assholes. They were assholes when they were kids. They were assholes when they were adults. They were entitled bastards who thought that the world belonged to them, and if things didn't go right for them, it was everybody else's fault, not theirs. They're bad people.
I'm not under any delusion. What you just said is exactly how I feel.
Cry because his family
when
left
that
him.
was
No, he
really
quit the band
fucking
because
sad
he's an
when
asshole.
No, it was really fucking sad when his daughter died. That's
Yeah,
just shit.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
But all the other stuff,
But the other shit,
assholes.
yeah. I mean, like, no, these guys were fucking everything that moved, drinking and snorting and doing
fuck-
whatever.
look, again, all
when
of
they
that
could
is
get it.
fine. All of that is fine. Fucking everything you can fucking see is fine. Both if you're a man or a woman. I don't care about that. Doing all the drugs, don't care about that. Beating people with your hands because you're mad at yourself, not because they're attacking you or whatever, is a line for me. And killing a guy irresponsibly. Vince Neil only went to jail for 19 days. Vince Neil should have not come out of jail. Period. He killed that guy. Fuck these 4. Fuck all 4 of them. Except for Mick. He's kind of okay.
Again, yeah, he's just
But
a guy
also
that wanted
did
to
some
play
bad
guitar.
things. But he also did some bad things. And that's my recommendation on this movie. No, screw these guys. Screw them for life.
We didn't
Absolutely
mention the most interesting thing about this.
not.
Something else I didn't know. Nikki got the rights to the music from Elektra.
Uh-huh.
How? Are we done? Is everybody done with this?
Yeah, we're done. We're
okay.
done.
So this is my first question. How did Elektra owe them any money at all
Right,
with what they
yeah.
were doing and spending?
Right.
If this was the case, how is that possible? And 2, how is a sum large enough that they would do that? That they would, here's the rights, we'll keep what we owe you. How did that happen? That
Well,
never happens.
It does. And you got to put yourself back in time. Let's go into the Wayback Machine. And at the time where they got the rights back, their stock is in the toilet, right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to listen to them. You've got Tommy's in Methods of Mayhem. It sucks. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh, I said it. I said that. Oh. And at that point in time, Napster is the thing.
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
Lars Ulrich is losing his fucking shit because, oh, the rights to my music. And so Spectra, because these guys were touring still decently, they're still pulling, not stadiums filled with topless ladies anymore, but they're pulling, you throw a Motley Crue concert in 2002, 2003.
15,000.
When they got back together. 50,000. That's a good haul. That's a good day. But their catalogs were shit because nobody's buying their fucking records because records aren't even a goddamn thing anymore. So sell it. They're touring
they
well.
just cut their losses. Okay, that makes sense.
yeah,
Good history.
yeah.
Nice answer.
Hey, I know my shit. Sometimes. Okay. Jackie, you got any questions?
So they end the movie with going through, they played for the next 20 years together, and their farewell tour was 2015.
Right.
So why leave off all the Pamela Anderson shit and...
Why leave off in 2013 when they went on stage for the MTV Music Awards and lip-synced half of it and then cut out their audio and all of them walked off stage halfway through the goddamn show? The MTV Music Awards. I'm not saying that that's the prestige of people and it's not the Kennedy Center honors, right? But you should probably play that show all the way, guys.
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
Why did they not do all the stuff that would make them look so goddamn worthless?
Terrible. Yeah.
I mean, that's where you're like, whoa, what about the Pamela Anderson? Oh, let's show that part where they did a sex tape and he beat the shit out of her.
He beat the shit out of her. Yeah, it's a man-boy fantasy. That's what my biggest problem with this movie is that it's not reality, and they tell us that, but it's still not acceptable because these guys were really bad people and not good musicians. They weren't professionals at any point in time. They were man boys, and this is a man boy fantasy. I guarantee you Donald Trump Jr. loves this fucking movie because that's what he thinks life should fucking be. I'm a man. I take what I want. Fuck off with this shit.
Yeah, I just really didn't understand why they ended it where they did. And it was like...
Because you want to have redemption, Jack.
Are you guys
want to
just
have
fucking
redemption in a movie.
shitheads from this point forward so bad that...
Also, it's based on a book that was written in 2008.
With their help.
Okay.
With their help.
Okay.
As well. So there's a lot of bias in it. And a movie has to have some sort of character arc, a journey that they go on.
Yeah.
And these guys never went on a fucking journey. They almost died. Vince Neil was still doing H in fucking 2012, I think, as late as that. So they didn't learn their fucking lesson. No, they suck. They suck. They always suck. They're bad people, and we shouldn't be fucking romanticizing Sunset Boulevard. That's the other thing. Is like the Sunset Boulevard rockers of this time are now being like the cowboys of America. Those guys stuck to their guns and LA Guns and Guns N' Roses. I mean, it's all just fucking fantasy for man boys. It was all bullshit and rape aplenty. God damn it. Okay, I'm off my soapbox until the do's and don'ts, and I'm going to say just go ahead and don't.
Okay, so we're there. That's Jackie's pick, so I'm next.
No, Jackie's still got more questions, apparently.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I do. So I guess I don't understand, like, why make this movie or why write the book if you admit in the movie, at least, because I haven't read the book, if you admit in the movie within the first, like, 20, 30 minutes that this is all bullshit, like, why do it?
Because I don't think that this really follows the book all that closely. It was a 10-year development hell, and then you get your dream team to make this movie, right, that would glamorize what there is to glamorize in the book and make it what's allegedly a fun, debaucherous romp. That's how this gets made. Does it follow the tale? I don't know. I don't care enough to read it. Like, I just don't care about these guys, so I'm not. Right. But I'm just going to assume that the movie does that because it's winking and saying we're deviating from the source material. And that's when we get to the do's and don'ts, I'll kind of speak my mind on that.
Okay, because, like, I kind of understand that because the book about Linda Lovelace that I read, and the only reason I read it was because I saw the, like, documentary kind of film thing about it. And it doesn't follow the book at all. And so you get all these facts, right, that are just too vivid for TV. And you're kind of like, do you want to get the book at this point? And my answer is going to be no. Because these guys are just misogynistic pigs.
Yep.
And they're disgusting. And everything that is wrong with this decade. Or with these 20 years. Like from the 80s to 2010.
If you think these people aren't being created right now, Jackie, this is not 80s relevant. That's what people, that's just the time it was. Bullshit. These people have existed and continue to exist. And until everybody starts calling them out as assholes instead of celebrating, the 80s, what a fucking debaucherous, blah, blah, blah. The Decade of Decadence and fucking blah, blah, blah. No, it was assholes. These guys were assholes.
Shitheads.
Shitheads. Until we start calling them what they actually are, they're going to continue to be made because they're celebrated in this fucking country and rewarded instead of punished.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I can respect the cultural, or maybe just, it was the time, and I'm grateful for people that are actually honest about it was the time. I don't feel that way now. I did things because that was what it was at the time.
Nope. Wrong is wrong.
Wrong is wrong.
But it's not wrong. It was the time.
Beat a lady is fine in the 80s. It was the time, and that's what people believed and thought, and they went with that. But then they grow as people, and then they become different people with more enlightenment. I can forgive that. Nope.
All right,
Vikings pillaging and raping and stealing people and murdering. Oh, hey, bringing slaves over. That was just the time. That's just what we did. No, wrong is wrong, Jackie, and time is irrelevant to that.
If you did that,
you're taking a completely indefensible position.
Yeah.
You're taking a completely indefensible position.
Yep.
You will never be able to defend it. Sorry.
If you do it and you know it's wrong,
you're gonna keep trying?
I'm going to fucking shut up now because, quite honestly, you guys are both right. And, when it's wrong, it's wrong, even if it was the time.
Hey, where'd Jackie go? I don't see her on screen anymore. She must have dug herself too deep.
Yeah, I'm pretty much got my head up my ass right now. I am so fucking embarrassed.
Honey, I understand what you're saying, and that is how people treat it. They say, oh, that was just the time. No, it wasn't. That is a fantasy, a romanticized version of what you had the time being. Again, with the Cowboys and the Old West, we fucking romanticized that shit, and all of it was just fucking straight out murder. Everybody was getting murdered and raped.
That didn't happen.
And I'm not saying that it's right or that I'm not supporting any of it, but. It's like, that kid is a pickpocket. Like, in what is that movie or what is that series you're watching? 1823?
1883, yeah.
Yeah. With Tim McGraw and Faith Hill and my favorite, Sam Elliott, where he gets pickpocketed and he just shoots like this 9-year-old in the street.
Yeah. No, it's not good. Not good. Okay, let's move on to Sam. I want to get to you first on streaming news and notes because we might be saying the exact same thing.
We're going to say completely different things, and I'm going to start with you fucking hate these guys, and I just don't give two shits about them.
Okay.
Just don't care about Motley Crue. I can personally assume that there is a large deviation from the source material because that wouldn't be a movie that people would like because it's fucking awful shit that they were doing. I think that the deviation from the source material, if I'm assuming correctly, was made so they could actually make a movie that was entertaining and that they tried as hard as they could, and I think they did. It's just fucking stupid nonsense. I think 36 is a little low on the Rotten Tomatoes, and I enjoyed watching it. I will never watch it again, but if you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen it and you don't mind at least 23 minutes of titties spread across the whole thing, yeah, go ahead and watch it. It's fine. But it's not what happened. It's not what happened.
No.
And yeah, they're douches. Whatever. I don't care. I just don't care about these guys as a movie. I didn't regret watching it, and there was some funny stuff that happened here and there. It was fine. It was fine for a Netflix original.
Okay. I am going to actually, I don't know what I'm doing as far as your opinion. I might be agreeing, I might be disagreeing. But either way, I do care greatly about Motley Crue, Sam. I hate them. I have intense feelings about Motley Crue. I despise them as people, which is the problem I have with this movie, is I feel absolutely nothing for these characters. At no point could I be given a shit about what was happening on screen because the tale isn't about the characters, it's about the events that are surrounding the characters. The most of them is tits and drugs and whoa, look at this, but nothing is actually divulged about the characters themselves, and they are characters. This is a cartoon of this decade and this band. It's a caricature, so these are characters, and nothing is divulged about what their feelings are, what they're actually caring about. It's just, here we are doing shenanigans again. So I felt nothing the entire time. I was bored as shit by this movie because it's not a fucking movie. Even though it is a movie. It's not a documentary or biography. It's a fucking fictionized thing of what was happening. And they broke down all the conventions of storytelling, and I cared nothing, and I was bored. And I say don't. Unless you like copious amounts of tits, which then it's copious, a do. So I guess it's a do.
The only way you get more tits than this is if you just watch porn.
Yeah, pretty much. So, and you might learn something. I don't know. There is some truth here, but not very much.
Not enough to care about.
Yeah, not enough to care about.
He hates him and he didn't care. I couldn't be bothered to care, and I don't care still.
All right, so that brings us to Jackie. Jackie, do or don't. You've seen it 4 times. Just want to remind you, you've seen it 4 times.
I have seen this movie 4 times. You are absolutely right, and that's what I was going to lead with. I didn't know anything about Motley Crue the first time I watched this. And then I was kind of drunk when I watched it the first time. And so I was like, well, I'll watch it again when I'm semi-drunk.
Okay.
And then it was like, I'm starting to drink, I'll watch it again. And then I watched it with you. So, you know, I guess my thought is that all four of these guys are fucksticks. They're terrible human beings. And I don't think that this movie scratches the surface of what these assholes actually did during the time that they were at the height of their fame.
Sure.
And I just think that they're all four fucking trashy dudes that made it big on a whim and whatever. I mean, I can't say. I'm a fucking nobody.
You have to say do or do not.
But I will
knowing
say
that you've seen it 4 times.
Right.
Yeah, I will say that I'm going to give it a do.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it. It was entertaining to me to see the shenanigans that they could remember or that they were willing to talk about.
Or that they made up.
Or that they had, because there was news of fires and all sorts of debauchery, right? That they candy-coated for the most part. I'm saying if that's the kind of stuff that was going on, it got pretty candy-coated in this.
And also a lot of, and Zepp had this as well. I'm not just saying that this happened to these guys. The telephone game happened a lot with shenanigans in hotel rooms and all of rock stories. And so again, the press comes to the band and says, "Did you do that?" And the band is like, "Holy shit, we never even thought about doing that." Of course we did that. Or they, something cheeky like, "Well, we'll never tell because that's who we are." And then they go on to sell more records because Rolling Stones talks about how they inserted snakes into vaginas. So maybe it's lies. Jackie doesn't know about the snake. Maybe it's lies. Maybe it's hearsay. But either way, and also what they could remember or not, it could or could not be true is what we're getting at.
Yeah, so I'm still gonna give it a do.
Okay.
I had a good time.
Okay. I can see a lot of people having a good time. I just the movie just didn't do anything for me. I was bored. I go watch Behind the VH1 Behind the Music. It's 45 minutes, save you a ton of time. You're gonna learn all the same shit.
A lot less tits though.
Lot less tits. VH1 on Pornhub. All right. Next week on the show, it's my pick. We're back to being my pick. And we're going to just do what I said earlier and circle back to American Ninjas 4. Everybody loves them. So that's my movie. Any final thoughts, guys?
Nope.
Great. Jax.
Girls, girls, girls. Every lady in the department store. Girls, girls, girls.
Oh, man. That's where you want to pick up chicks is the department store because they're all 50-year-old
I don't even know if those are the lyrics.
No, that works good. No, I like it. All right. Get to the chopper.